in case you don't recognise, this is Libs, Ralph's sister, and this is
Amanda.
Friend. Great friend. We just want to say, from volunteering down at Acorns, would we rather be here or would we rather be at Ralph's house?
Yes, good morning. I'm in the car, and I'll tell you for why. Because if you remember one of my earlier videos, actually it's called Theodores Brackets. Really good guy, nice little team they've got in a unit up here in Coventry, and that's where I got my brackets made. But I need some scaffold board so that I can, well, basically so I can paper the very top of the stairs. A bit of a precarious place to be working. I don't want to fall down. So I picked up a 6-foot scaffold board. Thank you very much, Theo. And actually my other half was saying, don't you do anything dangerous? I said, no, that's why I'm going for a scaffold board. So I've got something I can stand on, I can walk on, and I'm safe on. And as this is scrap, because they make a lot of furniture at, yes, it's Theodores Furniture. That's the name of the company. Look them up. Really good. And as I say, he made me some brackets, but I just said to him, I said, perfect fit, you know, not a millimetre spare. And absolutely right, yeah, same guy. So if you want your brackets made or anything like that, or bits of furniture, talk to him, he's good. I've just paused here because my sister turned up with the biggest strawberries. I mean,
Put your finger.
Look at that.
And the scale.
They are massive.
Worcestershire strawberries.
2 tubs of them, because we're going to have a kind of picnic lunch.
Well, I turned back to the Chadbury Farm shop
Yeah.
to get them. So I thought, no, Worcestershire strawberries.
Because this is what happens at Ralph's house. You miss all this.
Yeah. So look.
Yes, video 102, would you believe? Very grateful to Katie for these doors. I'm mentioning her again. Had a lovely trip out to go and get these doors. Really nice couple. Be nice to see them again. Yes, good. Thank you, Katie. I've got a bit of work to do on these because they've had modern door handles on, and normally the hole for the door handle on these goes through about there. So much as I'd like to keep them in plain wood condition, I won't. They'll get primered and they'll get coated to match all the rest. These handles will go, any gaps filled, any gaps on where the lock was, that'll get removed and filled. And we'll put these back the way they were, because I'm kind of short of 3 doors in this house. One for the bathroom upstairs, which I'm still thinking about the sliding door on that. I could still have an opening door, but it may be that it would work if I opened the door the other way. Hadn't thought of that. Anyway, and there is a door for this room, but there isn't a door for the back room. In fact, this one. Well, to be fair, there is. I'm just sort of leaning against it. But this door, when I moved into this house, well, this door opening didn't even exist. There was a cupboard here. That's what my father had fitted. So effectively, this room was blocked off, other than the 2 opening doors between the 2 rooms. I showed those in an earlier video. So I've got to plane and fit this door to suit. So I've got a properly opening door. That would be the right way for it to open, actually. Then with the kitchen door, that's going to be a sliding one, and I have finally come up with a plan for the kitchen. As you know, I pretty much finished upstairs, apart from this paper on the ceiling's got to come off, and that, and all the way up to the top. That one's scraping and relining new paper on that. There is a stair lift here, which I'm keeping. It doesn't really take up too much space, and I don't know, I'm 61, what's ahead, who knows. So anyway, the stair lift's staying, but I'm going to have to remove it so that I can get these stairs finished. And one of the pressing reasons is, you see these gaps all the way down the side there. How do you deal with those, you wonder? Easy, expanding foam. If you do it with plaster, which probably people have done in the past, the gap will just open up again. Squirt expanding foam in there until it spills out, and cut it tight. Just fill it with fine filler over the top. This has all got to be, it's all got to have lining paper on it. If I was just going to paint it white, I probably wouldn't bother, but I'm not. I'm going for quite a plum colour, and as it's a dark colour, that would be unfair to paint the plaster in plum paint. So I'm going to line these walls all the way up to the top. And you notice at the beginning of the video I've got this scaffold board. Well, basically you stand a pair of, well, not steps, but a ladder on one of these steps. It comes up and it leans against this cupboard right at the top. See that one? And then you run a scaffold board across there, maybe on a raised platform. That then means I can then walk out and reach all the high bits on the landing, because they are way out of reach, and that's the only way you can do it. So I've got to have a stable platform, hence why I needed a scaffold board, because I don't want to be falling down these steps. Do you know the biggest cause of death in the UK, particularly for older people, is falling downstairs? Somehow that doesn't surprise me. So that's something I've got to take into account. Yeah, I was talking about the kitchen and what I'm going to do with it. Well, this is the state of my kitchen at the moment, and I know the ladies are watching thinking, oh, I couldn't live with that. Yeah, and I get that, but we have to, because we've moved in and we've got to have some way to cook. So I've got a double oven in there on a 6mm cable, bags of slack on it, so I can, if I want, put this cooker anywhere I like along that worktop, because I haven't worked out exactly where it's going to go. Now, originally what I was going to do was plaster and get all this wall level to the top, but I decided, well, that's an option, because I came across this wonderful kitchen. It was in one of Thomas Nagy, the electrician, worth checking out his site. It was in one of his videos, and I thought, hey, I like that, that's clever. And so basically what I'm going to do is tongue and groove that all the way along the back, as you see in the kitchen. That oven thing in the centre, I'm certainly not having that, but I like that idea. And the other thing is, I don't like worktops that end up cluttered like this does, and I've worked out with all the amount of stuff I've got in the kitchen, I can store it all away without any of it appearing on this worktop, and actually make the worktops slightly narrow. And because it's a galley kitchen and quite narrow, enough to get a washing machine through, I would gain an extra 6 to 8 inches that way, floor space. And if you're working in a kitchen, that extra little bit makes all the difference. So a slightly narrow worktop. The second half will be slightly wider, but the first part will be narrow. You'll see how it works. So instead of chipboard units, my sister, through some, I won't mention his name, but I'm very grateful to him, has got a dresser, a Welsh dresser. Now it's 8 foot high, this Welsh dresser. Pretty much, you know, well, I'll be taller than this room, I should think. But the top bit lifts off, but the Welsh dresser bit is about worktop height, and it's 5 foot. So that's what I'm going to put in here, with a darker wood worktop, and I shall continue that theme all the way using pine, and then it'll be painted that pale, is it duck shell egg green, something like that. It's a like a very pale sage green. Do all the cupboards so they all tie in, and that way I can repurpose pine furniture, which is certainly going to last longer than chipboard, and give it a really nice look. And I've got some cast iron shelf brackets that will go on the wall if I need the odd shelf here, not too much. The space above here, because there's a beam, well, this is the back of the house, you see, so obviously there's an RSJ in there, that, you know, that's how they were able to open this up between what would have been the coal house and the outside toilet. That's the layout of these 30s houses. So that's been opened up and through. But rather than try and, well, you can't hide that, I should just make a feature out of it, and I should just clad that in the same stuff. Tongue and groove, painted in that duck shell, can't say it right, duck egg shell green, right, like I say, pale sage green. And put a shelf up there, again on cast brackets, and I can put things up there that actually don't mind on display. Things I hate, that sort of thing, they're just vile to look at, aren't they? Incidentally, see this bell? I'm now 61. I've known that bell since I was a baby, and it's got a bit of history, and I know that sound. Not worth a lot, but it is to me because it belonged to my grandmother, and it originally came from the George Eliot Hospital in Nuneaton, the old George Eliot Hospital, back in the 30s, I suppose, and it sat on their counter. So when you went in the hospital, you did that. Yeah, so that's why that's there. Yeah, so I've repurposed a set of drawers here, which I'm keeping crockery in. That's only temporary. I don't think I'm going to be able to use that long term, but we'll see. And the top of the Welsh dresser is going to go right at the end. Now it is 5 foot wide. That gap isn't. I think it's more like 4 foot. So I'll have to take it apart one end, cut the shelves down a little bit, and then re-glue the whole thing so it fills that void there, and then I can put whatever I want. I've got that I've got storage shelves there. I would have enough space because I don't want work units that, sorry, you know, top cupboards, because they really make a kitchen oppressive. They loom at you. You can't get to the top cupboards. They're always out of reach. You'll always get mess on the top unless you infill it. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to make sure I've got plenty of storage below. And also, this house has, because my sister lived in it as well, has these shelves that go under the stairs. I shall get all these sanded down and repainted. But that's a useful space, and because I'm putting a sliding door here and leaving a gap at the end of the counter, the sliding door, when it opens, will just come in front of these shelves. And if you really need anything off them, you just shut the door. So extra space. I'll store a fair bit. At the moment I've got food in it because I've got nowhere else to put it. And the ceiling's quite high in here. It's significantly higher on this side, if you look, compared to that side. And because I've got this new bathroom right above this, and it's fairly difficult to run cables where I want, I'm actually going to drop this ceiling down by about 4 inches. So I should put some strips of timber across, re-plasterboard it, and that means I can run my cables where I want, and even put in spotlights, which makes that serviceable. So that's the kitchen plan. In the front bedroom, if you remember, you know, I've got these lights and ceiling spots. This I'm going to replace with a smart switch, so at least it's void. Well, you can still switch it on manually. You can barely see them, but they're just touch sensitive, and they can be controlled via your phone, or as I've got an Amazon Echo Dot, you know, Alexa, I can control certain things in the house with it. The bedroom seems like a good place to do it, because there's nothing worse than when you put your lights on, you go to bed and think, oh, didn't turn the light off. Yes, I know you can get out of bed, but it's so much easier if you just say, Alexa, light off, and that's the job done. Anywhere else in the house, I'm not bothered. I'm on my feet then. But I think in the bedroom, good idea. So I'm going to put one of those in. Now, most of these smart switches require a neutral, and depending on how your light switch has been wired up, you may not have one in the light switch, but I managed to find one that doesn't require one. I think it cost me a little bit more. There's a capacitor that has to go in the lighting loom up top, but otherwise that should work. And then I've got a touch sensitive one, and if you're not familiar with smart stuff, I'm sure you are, I've got a clip light by my bed, which I quite like, because like I say, it is a clip light. I can put it where I want. But for instance, then I can do Alexa, turn clip light on. Okay. There you go, see? And if the main lights are like that, that would be rather a nice touch, don't you think? Alexa, light off. There you go. And as I discovered yesterday, it's relatively new to me, because it works through my mobile phone as well, I can actually turn these lights on and off from anywhere in the world, as long as I've got an internet connection. Not that you'd necessarily want to turn your bedroom light on when you're in Zimbabwe, but you know, you could. The front door, I've started rubbing this down now and getting a lot of this paint on, because can you see all this crazed paint on here? It's cracked. So anyway, I'm sanding it back as best I can and going over with a light filler where I can, just to fill it all up. And instead of this bright yellow that it used to be at one time, I shall give it a coat of grey primer, and the whole door is going to go gloss black, which would really set this off. And I've got a chrome letterbox that I picked up, which will go here. I've got that block of wood in there because, well, not only can people see straight through, I don't want post through there. It just gets dropped out here through the other letterbox. So, yeah, so I'm working on that at the moment. At some point, these outside doors, which they'll last a few years yet, but they're going to have to be replaced. Haven't quite worked out what. UPVC is all right, but it's not that attractive. But I don't want to lose the sight of this door, so whatever I put out there, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, but it will have to be replaced at some point. The only other option is just take them out completely and leave it open, which would show the front door, but then it leaves you a bit more vulnerable. Don't know. Whatever you do on that one. So anyway, that's the front door. So I've been rubbing that down and trying to get this as smooth as I can, because I notice when you come in, this is the first thing you see is this bit. So I'm trying to get that as flat as I possibly can. The stained glass in these windows, because you can buy this stuff, I don't know if you know it, you can buy it on a roll. It's self-adhesive stuff. In the bay windows, in the very top windows, you know, the square ones, I'm going to replicate this. Because you can buy this film in all different, you can buy a film that looks like glass in virtually all the colours of the rainbow. So I shall work out the shape of the window and try and replicate this either by squashing this graphic down or just taking elements of the colours and carrying it on through the UPVC, just to tidy up the front really. So that's that stuff. Like I say, you can get it on a roll, self-adhesive, so that would be good. So that's the front door. Also, via donations, I've got this lovely trunk, which at the moment I'm using to store curtains in. Will eventually sit in the downstairs living room with a glass top on it. That'll be the coffee table, quite nice. So I've been picking up bits and pieces. But that's really it from Ralph's house today. Look out for 103. Leave a comment below if you like, either positive or negative, or if you've got any ideas or you see something that I've clearly missed, let me know. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.